The Harley, a book that holds a great prophecy and contains the historical events of the past, present, and future. And not only does it explain the entire history of the One Piece world, but it is also linked to the great mural that was found by Frankie in chapter 1138. And this mural and what's written in the Harley seem to describe three distinct worlds, but in reality they represent three different time periods. The first world refers to the beginning, how everything started. The second world is the past. It describes what happened during the Void Century. And the third world foretells the future, what Luffy and his allies are going to accomplish. And I believe that these three worlds each talk about different sun god we know about: Nika, Joy Boy, and Luffy. So in today's video, I'll explain the meaning of this mural and these texts and what they truly reveal about the world of One Piece. First thing we have to realize is that each world represents a part of the mural. I believe that the first world corresponds to the right side of the mural. The second world is symbolized by the tree that is right in the middle, and the third world is depicted on the left. That is why Oda positioned each world's description at the top of its respective section. And after analyzing these texts with me, you'll understand why I believe that is the case. But now let's start off by trying to understand what exactly is the first world. So, the first world starts off by saying the earth is engulfed in flame and the hearts of men burn with desire. I believe that this is the creation of the One Piece world because it is very similar to how our world was formed. 4.5 billion years ago, the earth was first a ball of molten rock due to intense heat from constant collisions with space debris. Then it cooled down and became a solid crust, which is what we call Earth today. To me, this is what Oda is trying to reference here, that the One Piece world was created in a very similar way to our world. Then man came into the world with desires and started creating civilizations, and they had all these wonderful hopes and dreams for the future. They reached for the Forbidden Star. This can be interpreted to mean that their desires went too far. They reached for the Forbidden Star by using unethical ways to advance their civilizations. They simply started using slavery as a way to reach their goals and to advance the development of their cities. This is why on the right side of the mural we can see what seems to be a heavily polluted city, and there are slaves working there. From whispered prayers the sun god rose, beckoned by the enslaved. This is clearly about the creation of Nika, and Who's Who had already mentioned this to us back in chapter 1018, where he said that slaves in ancient times believed in the sun god Nika. So the enslaved people created this tale about a fictional deity that would one day save them, as a way to cope with the harsh reality of them being slaves. At this point, the sun god Nika did not actually exist and was only a mere tale. The god of the land was enraged. Upon hearing these stories amongst the slaves, the world's leader at the time, who might have been Imu if he truly is immortal, well, he became enraged that they dared to believe they could escape and be free. And he knew that if they kept believing in Nika, it would one day motivate them enough to start a revolution against him. This is what probably angered him the most. With a serpent of fire, they cast the world into ruin. Darkness fell, death reigned. So Nika's story did motivate them enough to start a revolution. All over the world, slaves started rebelling against the unfair system. People were killing their masters and taking back their islands from the people that were oppressing them. The leader of the world was losing control. So in a moment of desperation, they used a serpent of fire. They burned down every island and city that existed at the time, using the serpent to restart the world again. Thus, darkness fell, death reigned. And we can see this giant serpent in the mural on the right. They would not meet again. This is a reference to the red line, and I do believe that the red line is the body of the serpent of fire that was used to destroy the world at that time. The serpent's body was used to separate the world into sections after it died. It is why we now have the north, south, east and west blue. This is a direct reference to Jormungandr, the world serpent in Norse mythology who encircles the realm of Midgard, biting its own tail. This would be just like the red line since it encircles the entire One Piece world. Now, let's move on to the second world. The first line for the second world reads, "A breath stirred in the abyss. The god of the forest summoned its devils." This is the birth of devil fruits in the One Piece world. After the chaos that was left behind by the red serpent, a breath stirred, meaning hope came back within the abyss. And after all the chaos, the god of the forest created the devil fruits we know today. From the mural that Frankie found, we see a giant tree that's right in the middle. This giant tree represents the god of the forest. It was from this tree that devil fruits were formed, and Vegapunk said devil fruits were manifested by the dreams and hopes of people. So people prayed to this tree to make their deepest desires come true. Reason why it is called the god of the forest, because it answered people's prayers in the form of devil fruits. This is why the text says it summoned its devils. I also have a theory that devil fruits weren't originally weakened by the sea, and I'll explain later why I think that. While the sun lit the embers of war. This line here is about Joy Boy. In the Harley text, the word sun is used to represent the user of the Hitonomi Modernica. I think it makes sense to say that because later in the third world, it uses the word sun again, which I think means Luffy, who is the current user of this devil fruit. But at this point in the second world, the user of this devil fruit is Joy Boy. The liberator people prayed for in the first world came into existence thanks to the god of the forest. And we know Joy Boy then started the Great War against Imu and the 20 Kingdoms, which took place during the Void Century. Those of the half and full moons dreamed. I'll be honest, I'm not too sure what is meant by this here. The best explanation I could find for this is that the half moon represents the D clan, since a half moon has the shape of the letter D, and the full moon could represent the Minks, since they can transform into their Sulong form under the full moon. So the Minks and the D clan, after losing the Great War alongside Joy Boy, dreamed, hoping that one day in the future someone similar to Joy Boy would succeed where he failed. And this could explain why the Kuzuki family created the poneglyphs to preserve this history. And it is likely the case they were instructed by the Minks to do so, since we know that these two clans have such a strong bond between them. Yet the ones who slew the sun defied themselves, evoking the wrath of the sea god. This is talking about the ones who killed Joy Boy, who are Imu and the 20 Kingdoms. By killing him, they went against what the people wanted, so they defied themselves, and it enraged the sea god. Earlier I mentioned the forest god being a tree that produces devil fruits. Well, the sea god here could literally just mean the sea, and this is the reason why I think it was after the Great War that devil fruit users were cursed by the sea, because it says they evoked the wrath of the sea god after they killed Joy Boy, meaning that it was Imu's actions that caused every devil fruit users to be unable to move in the sea and weakened by it. And I do believe that after Imu is taken out and peace comes back into the world, then devil fruit users will be able to go into the sea again and not drown. And now we are in the third world, which is the present and future of the One Piece world. Chaos reigns, the world drifts in a void, yet time does not erase the memory of the promised day. In the third world, the world government controls everything, with Imu still being the king of the world. People are enslaved, the world nobles are treated like gods, and piracy runs rampant. The world is in chaos, but we know that the will of the people from the past has carried on into the current current era. Its shadow looms as the voice of the half-moon echoes through the ages, and once more the sun god shall rise, laughing, dancing, guiding the world to its final act. Like we said earlier, the half-moon could mean the D-clan, so their will travel through time, never dying out. The sun god shall rise, this is obviously talking about Luffy, since he is the current user of the Hito Hito no Mi Model Nika, so he represents the sun god. Luffy is going to lead the world to its final act because he will wage war against the world government and Imu, and this is the story we are currently following. The sun is reborn. For me, this is talking about Luffy. This is why I believe the word sun in the Harley text means the user of the Nika devil fruit. So it makes sense that it says reborn because after 800 years, someone finally ate this devil fruit again. A new dawn will break. Surely this time they will meet. A new beginning will start because Luffy will destroy the Red Line, creating a new era. In doing so, it will force the four main seas to meet again and form a single ocean, thus creating the One Piece. And on the left side of the mural, we see how the final act is going to play out. We can see Luffy, Emmet, some giants, the Wano Samurai, and even some fishermen, and they all seem to be going against a dark giant monster figure, which I can only assume is Imu. This drawing on the left side of the mural is the final war that is set to happen in One Piece in the future. So we have the right side of the mural showing us the beginning of the One Piece world. Then we have the giant tree in the middle that produces devil fruits to represent the second world, and lastly we have the left side of the mural showcasing the final war. So that was the full breakdown of the three worlds, along with how the mural represents them. Hopefully this gave you a clearer understanding of both the text and the mural. Thank you for watching.